How does it differ from Scrum? The main thing how it differs from Scrum is the roles. Scrum Master is not called a Scrum Master anymore, it's called a team lead. We all call them team leads in any case. That the team lead can do other stuff. It's not prescriptive and that you shouldn't do any testing. Team lead can do testing, can do some analysis, so it can do other stuff and not just a facilitator. It has the same role, it's a facilitator, it's a servant leader, but you do other stuff as well. Product owners, team member the same. Stakeholder, in the enterprise environment, there are other stakeholders rather than the team. Enterprise architects, database governance team, project PMO people. They need to be on your team. And then the most important one, the tech lead, architecture owner. One person that takes accountability for the architecture. He is the spokesperson for the team, and the back stops there with architectural decisions. So you have this systems risk mitigating thing, architecture owner, to mitigate the risk very quickly in your team. So this is one of the ways that mitigates the risk. When you scale, when you're in an enterprise environment, there's other roles that also need to be there. Independent tester, all the enterprise have independent testing teams, so how do you deal with them? Specialist, domain expert, technical expert, integrator. So if they are big, if you are a big company, these are some of the roles that will go into your team, maybe not permanently, depends on the situation. If you're still in a situation where you've got all the traditional roles of leaders and designers, this is a good mapping. Project manager becomes team lead. Business analyst, product analyst, the same as with Scrum, basically. Tester team manager, the QA professional could become part of an independent testing team. Architect becomes architectural owner, designer. Either team member or it's a very strong designer, part of the architecture owner programming team. So that's good mapping. There are obviously exceptions, could be exceptions in different parts, but this is the default one. So I'm talking about the full delivery lifecycle now. A survey done in 2009. 95% of all Agile teams do stuff up front. They do. I mean, you do need budget. You do need to have an initial release. Things are being done up front. Scrum starts with people use iteration 0 in Scrum to do this kind of thing. So that just explicitly creates this phase. We call it the inception phase, and that's where you do envisioning and planning. So the first few sprints, you do envisioning planning, high-level release plan, things like that. After that, you start your construction Scrum, and you have a transition phase as well. So these are the things that are being done at the moment. That just makes it explicit so that you understand where you are. There's no guesswork anymore. This is how you do it. Scrum, the basic foundation of the life cycle, inception, construction, transition. There's also a lean life cycle. Some things must lead to good Scrum. Under planning, it's time wasting. It can be more lean. They don't have review and retrospective. They pull stuff just in time. I've heard that it works. I've never seen it work. Sometimes if the team is not very motivated, they just do it whenever they want. There's no commitment. I call some of these teams, Afrikaans word it, laat Gods water met Gods akkerloop teams. Direct translation, I don't know, but it's something like that. But it's really, there's no commitment, there's no deadlines, then you start, there's no urgency. But I've heard it work. Okay, so that is cultural thing. That framework has 22 goals. We do this in any case. We do it implicitly. We do form initial team. We do identify initial technical strategy. We do this. That just makes it a little bit more explicit and to understand why we do things. So there's 22 goals. We do these things, identify risks, secure funding. We do these things. That makes it a little bit more explicit. So how does the framework work? Take these goals. Say for the initial team, it breaks it down into issues or factors. So for the initial team, those are the things you need to consider. Source, team size, team structure, geographical distribution. For each issue factor, it will break it down to co-located, partially dispersed, fully dispersed. So it gives you options. Co-located will be the best, obviously. Partially dispersed, it's not so good, and then it gives you advantages, disadvantages, and consideration of each of the options. So it gives you options, and then tells you, listen, this is the best option. Take cognizance of this when you take this option. So this is how the framework is goal-driven. We do this in any case, but it just helps you through the process in choosing which practice or which option is best for your context. Secure funding, another of the thing. We've talked a lot about it. Funding strategy, the best one. According to this time, the arrow means the best one is at the top from an agile perspective. Time and material plus performance bonus, that will be the best. That's where you want to go. Fixed price, fixed scope thing at the bottom, you don't want that. And then it will give you, just like a table, it gives you advantages, disadvantages, considerations. This is not for reading, this is just to understand how the framework works. So it gives you all these options, all these practices. There's a lot of practices. Even I talked about this morning, Martin, I'm not even name dropping, geez. Martin talked about these designs. Those are all in this framework. It gives you options. It helps you take the correct decision for your context. Because every context is different. Why build a room? Helps you select the right person. It's from a team's perspective. You as a team do the decision making. It's not someone else, it's not someone you know. You as a team helps you make decisions because there are other teams that have been in this situation and have made that decision. Make process options very clear, clarify risks, takes the guesswork out of extending our job. XP, Scrum is explicitly, is on purpose not have all the agile practices in. This just helps you in the context. Okay. Just quickly, inception phase, those are the goals. Average team spends about maybe two weeks or 2 sprints or 2 iterations performing it. It's also called iteration 0. These are things that are being done. Construction phase, these are the goals. Proof architecture is one of the important things that the framework suggests is the first 2 sprints really concentrate on mitigating the risk, creating architectural framework, architectural skeleton, so that you make sure that the architect works. That's one of the milestones in the transition phase. Okay, so we've talked about all those shortcomings. I say all those shortcomings in the beginning. The framework actually addresses it. And working with enterprise architects, there's a framework, a goal suggesting how you work with the enterprise people. Are you going to put an enterprise architect with a team? It suggests all kind of practices that other people have done. It's a pragmatic approach to Agile. Governance, there's 6 explicit milestones. So it helps with governance. Stakeholder consensus. After inception phase, people need to understand, make sure people need to have reached consensus on the project. That's a milestone. So people will like this, right? You can actually put it on a project. So these are some of the most, that's how it helps with governance. Governance is important in enterprise. People don't like you saying there's no governance. Be careful. Some of the metrics suggest metrics for certain contexts, situations. So I feel that a lot of those shortcomings have been addressed, can be addressed by the framework if you use it. It guides you through your context. If you create an internal website for your company versus creating an internet banking site, the practices will be different. It's not the same practice. You're not going to test this thing as much as the same. And this guides you through this. So why that? Glue for all agile practices. It's already a process, not a new process, not a new methodology. It just guides you through what decisions you can make, what options you can take. Think of that as the how-to manual for agile adoption. Pragmatic, it's not theory. It is actual practices that we do. And yes, we shouldn't forget the principles, values, and all those nice stuff. But this is the actual practice. What the people are doing. Okay, and enterprise awareness. So increase productivity because enterprise awareness, the risk value is very important, and then solution delivery. It's goal-driven, we tailor it for your context. You are special, you are different than the others. So you tailor it for yourself. Okay, I'm going to run that. So everybody knows this picture. It's the Hubble telescope, I think about 2 years ago. Just took a picture into space, just wow. And this is what they see. You see some of these spiral galaxies. These are all galaxies. Isn't they? Okay, so from there to scaling. So but back to Earth. So then, at the moment there's two philosophers in scaling. Yes, Martin touched on it as well. Scaling Agile teams, so that's how Dad thinks. As a team, how do you fit your practices within the enterprise? So that's the one scaling. So as a team, you focus on the team. How am I going to change to make sure that the enterprise architecture works well? And the other one is scaling Agile to IT to make your organization more lean. So the second one is that third and fourth star from Martin. First one is probably the first two ones. First one's concentrating on the team, last two ones concentrating on that. And those are the philosophies at the moment in scaling. So this is that one for your context. You will decide how to tailor your practices to for instance, if you're a team of thousands, how am I going to tailor my practices to work with that? Life critical. So these are the complexity factors that you will tailor based on some goals and some options, how you're going to deal with it. The other one is from the IT perspective. Solutions delivery is the team in the beginning, those all their solutions. And then in the IT company, we all have this enterprise architecture, portfolio manager, program manager, all that kind of thing. In your IT company. How to make that more lean. That touches on the enterprise architecture, looks into the enterprise architecture and IT governance, for instance, but it doesn't show you how to make your organization more lean. SAFE, that is where SAFE has a lot of good practices, especially from the enterprise architecture, portfolio management, program management. So it shows you how to flow with your enterprise ethics and themes through your company. So that's where SAFE are good. It's more prescriptive, it's very futuristic, I feel. Probably very difficult, but it is there and it is good. It really has good practices. And that is on the team level from scaling perspective. So that's the difference between that and SAFE. Quickly, conclusion. Agile adoption has a PG rating for large companies. It's not easy, and we see it doesn't work. OVM says mix and match Agile practices is the way to go. That provides this framework to tailor your Agile stuff for your context. That guides you through the Agile. So there's some certification on that. Personally, I print out, I'm told that I must say that I'm a black belt if there are certifications. What does DBT do? We have some training courses and we guide you through that adoption in the enterprise. Context counts. Yeah.